Well, hello there. Glad you can join me. Please sit on down. The bathroom's in the back. Kitchen's over here if you need anything. If you want to get something to eat, maybe a little snacky snack, breakfast, depending on where you're at. Come on in, get comfy, sit back and relax. Because I am going to entertain you for like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Remember when these used to be longer? I see comments all the time. They're like, oh, how come they're not like 10 or 20 minutes long? Because I don't want to spend all day editing myself talking. Because it's not as cool as you think it is. I mean, it's pretty cool because I get to stare at me, but it's not that cool. First question, thoughts on Architects? Love Architects, been a long time fan. I first saw them back in, I think it was 2011, maybe 2010. They were opening for Bring Me the Horizon and Every Time I Die in Seattle, and I had never heard of them. I had no idea who they were. I was actually there to see Every Time I Die, and they blew me away. They opened up, it was on the Hollow Crown tour, and they opened up with Early Grave, and I was just like, this is the loudest and most heaviest band I've ever heard in my entire life. And how is their singer doing that night after night? That is unbelievable. So yeah, huge fan. If you haven't checked out Architects, please check them out. Every album is just super killer, and they seem to get better. They seem to get better with every album. I don't know how they do that, but sheer brilliance, that band, Architects. I don't think I've ever heard you comment on Peavey speaker cabs. Actually, I really like Peavey speaker cabs. When I first started gigging when I was a young man, it was with a Peavey cab. It was with a really beat up 80s Peavey cab that had gotten off Craigslist for $50 empty. And I put some speakers in it and I just beat the holy crap out of it. But over the years, Peavey have really filled that niche of, okay, I am not totally broke. Like I can afford more than 50 bucks, but I can't afford something like a Mesa Boogie cab or something like that. And they really fill that middle ground because the build quality of Peavey cabs is actually really good. I have never had a Peavey cab fall apart on me. And I've owned I've owned several 5150 cabs. I've owned a XXX cab. I've owned a Valve King cab. I've owned an old school Sheffield equipped cab. And I never had a single problem with any of them. They were just really well built. But they, like I said, they filled that niche of that middle ground, and their speakers, I think, are really complimentary of the cab that they're supposed to go with. I think Peavey's always been really good at just matching a real specific speaker to a real specific amp. However, like the 5150 cabs, for example, back in the 90s, they were based on the greenbacks, and they were pretty flabby, as I recollect. Although it's been a very long time since I've actually plugged into a Peavey cab. I wouldn't mind giving a XXX cab another spin. I loved that cab a lot with a dual rectifier. So yeah, if you find one cheap, definitely go for it. It's a huge bang for the buck. Thoughts on the Mesa Boogie Mark V? Yes, Mesa Mark V. Sign me up. I enjoy that amp. I love that amp. I think it's actually one of the better amps that they put out in the last 25 years or so. Seriously, it's that good. I really like the control layout, and it takes the best elements of the Mark IV, actually really, if you think about it, it takes the best elements of the entire Mark series and puts it in one package. Now, I have not tried the new John Petrucci amp, which is basically a modern interpretation of a Mark IIc Plus, but I will. It's gonna happen. It's gonna come on the channel, it's gonna say hello, it's gonna walk in, and everyone's gonna go, oh my God, you're you, and it's gonna go, yep, it's me. And yeah, it's gonna be good. Been talking to Mesa Boogie a little bit on the phone, in fact, and you know, we're sitting across from each other, so to speak, and we're getting to know each other over some beers, and hopefully I, I'm not stuck with a bill. Hopefully Mesa Boogie doesn't jet out the bathroom window, as it were. I don't know what that means. What would happen if you shaved your beard? I'll tell you what would happen. My entire business model would go down the drain. I mean, at this point, this keeps the bacon on the table. You know what I'm saying? But technically, seriously, what would happen is as soon as I got the last whisker, just as soon as it was shaved, a black hole would appear and I would be swallowed, as would the house. The house would be swallowed and there would be nothing left but a lonely razor as a reminder of what happens when a man shaves his beard. I'm not That's me being real with you guys. That's what happens. Seriously. My suggestion to you this week is to check out this amazing keynote from the filmmakers behind Deadpool and Hail Caesar, put on by Adobe. I'm a huge Adobe Premiere fan, and it's really rare that you get an insight into how a movie was actually edited and put together. I thought it was fascinating. This thing's like an hour long, and I thought it was amazing. They burned through like 10 MacBook Pros in the process because the graphics chip just cannot handle, you know, editing for 24 hours straight in 6K footage, for example. It's just tons and tons of information can be gleaned off this thing, and I thought you video editors out there would get a kick out of this if you have not seen it already. You've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.